Does marketing and promoting your business drive you a little insane? Are you completely overwhelmed by all the options out there? If you are, you're going to love today's guest, Elizabeth Case of Yellow Dog Consulting. Elizabeth devotes her days to helping busy solopreneurs put together short, sweet, and manageable marketing plans that grow their business, get them sales, and help keep their sanity intact. Stay tuned. If you are overwhelmed by marketing, you are going to love today's episode with my guest, Elizabeth Case of Yellow Dog Consulting. Hi, Elizabeth. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks, Maria.
You guys are going to love Elizabeth. She has over 17 years of business development, sales, marketing experience, and she's worked with a variety of companies, both nonprofit and for-profit. She and I came into each other's orbit when she was doing business development, I think, for the Puget Sound Business Journal in Seattle. And she was an absolute rock star. And she's taken all those fantastic skills and started her own consultancy called Yellow Dog Consulting, which helps busy solopreneurs basically get their marketing in order. I don't know if that's actually your brand language, but that's kind of what you do.
Yeah, putting systems and schedules around your marketing.
Exactly. Systems, schedules, all the things that you need to keep your sanity. Because if you're doing all your marketing on your own and you're running your business and you're delivering your end offering or product, it's a lot. So Elizabeth and I are going to have a great conversation today about how to make your marketing more manageable and, more importantly, how to put together a plan that you can live with and be consistent about. So Elizabeth, share a little bit about, before we kind of dive into the questions, share a little bit about what got you into this entrepreneurial journey, because you are your clients, right? You are running your own business at the same time.
I am absolutely my clients. Yeah. So I started the company 7.5 years ago. I had worked for the Business Journal for 4 years. I had met a ton of entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, coaches, consultants, lawyers, folks who loved what they were doing, but the sales and marketing part of their job just sucked their will to live. I then went and did a brief stint working for a marketing firm, doing the sales and marketing for the sales and marketing firm. And what I discovered was they were small enough that they had to do their own sales. I didn't want to do sales anymore. And they just needed to get some systems in place for that marketing. And while I loved being paid the salary I was getting, I was bored out of my mind most of the time and needed to clearly be doing my own thing. And all my small business owner friends said, we need marketing help. And I said, great, who do we refer them to? Because they're too small for the company I was at. And they said, we don't really have anybody. We just stick them into this box and hope that it works for them.
Right.
And so I had a lot of conversations with my husband and my therapist and some small business owner friends and said, if I do this, what would it look like? And the resounding response was, when can you start? We need you.
Nice.
So it was really about, all right, what is it that you need to be doing? And just getting those systems in place. And then some clients can take it and run. And some clients are like, great. And then can you just handle that for me for the rest of time? So.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what you do so well, is I think that you really bring that calm and sanity to a very chaotic process. And I'm a marketer, like I'm helping people with their marketing, but even I'm overwhelmed by my own marketing. And I've written about this extensively. So let's talk first about what are some of the big mistakes or the biggest mistake that solopreneurs make that causes them to be overwhelmed by their marketing?
Yeah. It's really trying to do it all. And a lot of that comes from not knowing your target market or not spending time with your target market. So I'm amazed when I'm out networking that people, when they start talking about their target market, I look at them and go, why are you here? Because those people your ideal client they're not here in this room. Like, well, but maybe a referral partner is. And I'm like, yeah, maybe, but where are your potential clients hanging out? Start there. And so it's the in-person. And then on the opposite of that, I've had clients where we're just going to buy a list and hit send to it. And I'm like, no, bad idea. And I'm never going to leave my office and go and network. And it's like, unfortunately, as a small business owner, you have to leave your house. You have to go meet people. And so it's figuring out who your target market is, where they're spending their time, and what's not going to kill you to have to go out and do. So a room of 100 women might be a terrible idea. Maybe a more structured BNI or, leads group kind of thing is a better fit for you, or a smaller group kind of meetup is a better fit for you.
It's so funny that you say that, because I actually, in my live coaching program, well, first of all, of course I'm on board with the whole like build your brand strategy first and understand what you do, what value you offer, and who you serve before you spend a lick of money on marketing.
Yes, exactly.
But the other thing that really struck me about what you just said is I have taught in my live coaching program in the past that kind of putting together your marketing plan is as simple as, where are my ideal clients, customers, and what do I enjoy doing?
Yes.
And it's a Venn diagram. Like if Pinterest makes you want to poke your eye out, there's lots of people on Pinterest, but they're in other places too. So
exactly.
Go do that.
Yes. And so with that, it's that in-person networking, and it's that online networking. So many people who are like, oh, I'm going to get all my clients from Facebook. And I'm like, are you? How many clients have you gotten from Facebook?
Good luck with that. Yeah.
I had somebody the other day who said, Instagram is my fastest growing social media account where I get the most traction. And then I went and looked at her numbers and went, okay, so that's not really quite yet what we're going to focus our efforts on. And so it's also, when it comes to social media, making sure that you're spending time on the right social media accounts where your target market's hanging out and where it doesn't suck your will to live. I am the marketing consultant who refuses to join Facebook. I just don't care that much about you, and I don't want to really know what's going on. And I am one of the very few people in the world out, and everybody says, oh, I wish I didn't have to do it. And I'm like, yeah, but you are, and that's fine. I think every single one of my clients, I think there's like one guy who's not. Everybody's on Facebook. That's great. And part of it is, as a small business owner, I believe you need to be managing your own social media. I don't think you should outsource that. You are the one who knows your business better than anyone. So when I work with clients, we talk about the strategy of what social media should you be active on, where you've already set up accounts and then ignored them for 6 months. What do we need to do with that? So it's the same thing in person and with your social, I think.
Right. And I mean, the other point is like, businesses have been successful for centuries without social media.
Right.
Like this is not, it's one tool in the toolbox. It's a great tool, especially if you want to run a remote business or something like that. But even some of my most successful friends who have, tens of thousands of people on their email list, they run virtual courses all the time. Some of them are not even on social media.
Oh, no.
I'm thinking of one friend in particular who's hugely popular that never even engages in social media. She built her list organically through doing good work, through networking with people, through doing her thing, and built her email list. And that's how she communicates with her people. So I love that.
No, I'm going to love, because I love a good email list.
I know. Well, let's jump into that. It's like, why should entrepreneurs have a newsletter when we all get too much email already?
I mean, seriously,
I know you're a convert on this. So preach.
Yes.
Preach.
I love email newsletters. It is the bread and butter of my business. It is, I always like to say with clients, I'm not going to stick you into a box or a formula, but for 95% of my clients, I am going to recommend an email newsletter. Because an email newsletter is the best and most intimate way to connect with your network, right? So you're getting your name in their inbox on a regular basis, not every 6 months, not just when you have a new program to sell them or a new product to pitch or a new idea, but that you're regularly communicating them on your awesomeness. So that when the time is right, they go, okay, I'm ready to hire you.
Right.
That same client I was talking about, she and I spoke in January. She was referred by a friend in some coaching group they were in. And she was referred. We had a phone call. She's like, I have a lot going on right now. I said, okay. So we talked. I sent my proposal to her. She got on my newsletter list. That was in February. I looked because I track everything. So my CRM, I went back and looked. And in February, I sent her a proposal. She said, not quite yet. August, she emailed and said, okay, I'm ready to work with you. And it was because she'd been getting my email newsletter every month for 8 months or however that 6, 7, 8 months. And she was ready. The time was right. And I get that. I don't get new clients out of every newsletter I send out, but I get clients regularly enough that it makes it worthwhile.
Absolutely.
And that's what my clients see too. Right. That, oh yeah, I've been meaning to call you and schedule an appointment. Oh,
exactly. Yeah, it's that reminder because we're not top of mind to everybody.
No.
Like, Lord knows all the people that come through our path that we forget.
Exactly.
So it's like, if you've got a valuable newsletter that's not salesy all the time. And sometimes I might read your newsletter. Sometimes I might not read your newsletter, but it's popping up on a regular basis. And if something's keeping me from unsubscribing, you know, which is like, oh, when I do open it, I'm always like entertained, or I get an insight, or I get a great tip, or something.
A cute picture of my dog.
A cute picture of your dog. Exactly. Like it keeps going. And so then it gets to, I call it seducing your audience, right? You're not proposing on the first date. You're seducing them with good content.
Yes.
And valuable content. So when they're ready, it's like, oh, I'm not running around going, ooh, I wish I knew a marketing consultant who could help me with my newsletter, right?
Yes. And there's so many times when a client will ask me for a recommendation on something, and I'll be like, I know I should know somebody who does this. I'm sure I know somebody who does this. It happened a couple years ago where somebody was like, hey, we need help with this. And I went, crap, I don't know anybody. And then a week later, somebody who I'd known from Seattle came out of the woodwork, and I was like, where have you been hiding for the last 3 years? I totally could have referred business to you last week, but I forgot about you because I never hear from you. And that's what you don't want as a small business owner. You want that top of mind, because we're not hiring branding and marketing consultants or coaches or lawyers on a daily basis. Like, you know, they're not. Yeah. So
I just love the argument that people have against doing that for their own marketing. By saying inboxes are too full. And it's like, okay, how many newsletters do you subscribe to?
Right. Exactly.
And they have their favorites, and they have the ones that they open, or they don't always open every one, but it pops up on a regular basis. So it's just funny. Like we assume our target clients don't behave in the same way that we do. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. And you know, the thing is, like, a good newsletter open rate is something over 20%, right? 20 to 30% is a good open rate.
Right. That's a great open rate. Like,
that's a great open rate, right? Yeah. So that means that 70 to 80% of the people on your list aren't opening it. Right. And sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. I had a client years ago when I first started the business, and he sent me an email one day, and he was like, oh, I didn't know you were doing marketing. This is great. He responded to the newsletter. I didn't know you were doing marketing. We were just talking about marketing in the office. Can you come in next week? And he was a client for 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
Which was great. The thing was, if he got that newsletter, he'd gotten the 4 previous newsletters that I'd sent out. So it was just the right time in the right place.
Exactly.
That's where the consistency is key. So many clients, or so many people go, okay, well, I did 2 and I got nothing out of it. And I'm like, yeah, because we're still building this. Right. We're working out the kinks on our end. Like,
okay. We're still dating.
We're still dating. Exactly. Yeah.
So let's switch gears for a second, because a lot of the work that you do, and admittedly work I probably need to be doing with you, is putting those systems and processes in place to automate or keep things flowing for really busy, time-strapped and budget-strapped entrepreneurs. So can you talk about a few of the go-to processes or tools that you always recommend a solopreneur implement?
Sure. Yeah. You know, with my clients, it's, where are you networking? What's your follow-up system like? I am such a preacher of follow-up. There are thousands of dollars I don't spend every year because nobody followed up with me. And it blows my mind. Like, really? I said I was interested. I handed you my business card. This is not a first date. Like, I actually said, like, hey, you should call me and I'm going to say yes. Like, come on. Let's do this, folks.
It makes me laugh. The reason I'm laughing is I went through this whole period when I was living in Seattle. I'm in the Bay Area now, but I was trying to find a VA, and it seemed like I went through 4 or 5 people that like engaged with me and then completely dropped off. And I got to the point where I was like, I just want to give somebody money.
Yes.
To help me. Like,
why? Why is this so freaking hard?
It's so hard. Yeah.
I don't get it. So one of the things I always talk about, like, one of those easy systems to have is having a good follow-up system in place.
And so explain what that is. What do you mean?
Yeah. And so for me, it's scheduling time. So when I schedule my networking event, I will schedule time to do the follow-up. So anytime I go, I schedule 15 to 30 minutes within the next business day so that I get my follow-up done. So when I get home from the networking event, everything goes on my desk. So if it's an after-hours event, or if I've had a crazy day, unload all the pockets, check the purse, and you're going to miss one, right? Like, I found a business card a couple months ago in my purse that I went, well, that guy I met 3 weeks ago, crap. And then I just sent him an email like, hey, guess what I found in the bottom of my purse? Your business card. And I'm really sorry about that. Since I preach follow-up, I wrote follow-up templates you can download on my site. Like, I do all the things with follow-up that it's like, to screw up the follow-up is always awesome, but just be honest about it and be like, I screwed up, found your business card in my pants pocket 3 weeks later, sorry.
And how do you do follow-up with people that, whether you put them on your newsletter list or not? Do you have a system where you're like, I put something on my calendar 3 months from now? How do you work that system?
Yeah. So for me, it's if we've talked about working together and we've had a phone call or a conversation or coffee about it, I take that as implied consent. So like we've already started talking about dating. And so you have the information you need, that I will be adding you to my newsletter list. And I might not ask you for it, but I feel like it's that implied consent.
Right.
And everybody can have their own feelings about that. I have clients who feel both ways. However, if I meet you at a networking event and you give me your business card, that is not permission to add you to my newsletter list.
Right. Right. So you're talking about people you engage in a conversation about a project.
Right. Exactly. And so with that, it's, you know, you want to do that follow-up right away. So you get the card, you do whatever follow-up you promised them. And then, you know, if there's nothing, if I met you at a networking event and we were like, hey, you're pretty awesome, but we don't like, not a love connection, I'll connect on LinkedIn. Okay. Like, hey, it was great to meet you yesterday. That way, you know, I post regularly on my LinkedIn account. I know you post regularly on your LinkedIn account. And that way, you know, you stay in my feed, I stay in your feed. And that when the time is right, maybe things change, right? And I can find your contact information if you're updating your LinkedIn on a regular basis. So I'll connect on social media and then kind of leave the card and then recycle the card. Or I'll connect with you, you know, one-on-one if we want to talk more and had a love connection going there. So those are kind of some ways that I do that. And then I'll do that additional follow-up. And then if it makes sense to connect and, you know, add you to my newsletter list or subscribe to yours, I'll do that.
Right. Yeah. I love that. I mean, that's such an important process to put in place that we don't think about. We think about the time that we put on our calendar to attend an event or have a coffee date or whatever, but we don't put the time in our calendar to follow up.
Right.
And are there specific tools or technologies you use to manage that?
Yeah, for me, it's my CRM. So my customer relationship manager. And I use a tool called Zoho, Z-O-H-O. I use it because it's free, because I'm a small business owner. It is just me and Norm, my yellow dog here at Worldwide Headquarters. And so I use Zoho, and that's a great fit for me. What I also like about Zoho is that it integrates with MailChimp, which is my newsletter program. So I can automate things right into there and pull my lists in and over, which is really nice.
Nice.
Yeah. So I really, you know, so MailChimp is a great one for me because that's my newsletter that goes out every month. I have a couple of downloads on my website that people can opt in for, and then that gives you an automation sequence, and then you magically appear in my newsletter list after those automation sequences are done. Yeah. And then but with Zoho, I can schedule those tasks out, right? So, I sent you we had coffee, I sent you the follow-up proposal. A week later, I'm going to check in with you. And then, you know, maybe a week after that, I check in again, because people aren't eager to give away their money as much as you and I are trying to get some money, and there's so much money we don't spend. Right. A lot of people are like, yeah, I'm just not quite sure if I'm ready to do this yet.
Well, it's not the only project on their plate. Like that's the thing. To us, it's like, oh my God, this is my piece of new business for the month. But to them, it's like one of 13 things they're dealing with. Right. Yeah. So, all right. So let's talk about a marketing plan, because this is the thing where people freak out about it. They're like, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it needs to include. Let's talk about what you think a marketing plan should include. And also, what does a realistic plan look like for people? You know what I mean? Because I think there's the magical wish list of a marketing plan if I had a marketing department of 5 people. And then there's the realistic one. So talk to people about what it needs to include. Because I know you and I both have dealt with marketing plans in the past. I don't currently put together marketing plans for my clients. You do that.
I do.
But, you know, I know that there's like certain things, but there's not like one format. There's not one template. People do them in PowerPoint. They do them in Excel. They do them in Word. But what are the components that you think are the most important to a marketing plan? And what does that realistic plan look like?
So it really is about that goal, right? Like what do you want? What does a full schedule look like for you? So I worked with a client and we tried to figure out, what's this full schedule going to look like for you? Is it, you know, X amount of this kind of clients, you know, 5 of these, 3 of these, 2 of these, 1 of these at a time with 1 in the hopper? That's what a full schedule is going to look like for you. So where are we finding those clients? And that's where your networking and where your social media come in. That's where your referral partners come in. So when I talk with clients, we talk about, you know, who's your target market and where are you finding them? So where are you networking? Who are those referral partners that are sending you business? How are you staying connected to those referral partners? Do you send them thank you notes? Do you send them thank you goodies? Do you like have coffee with them on a regular basis? Like, what are you doing to stay connected to your referral partners? And then it's, where are you on social media? What are you doing? How do you keep active? Do you have a blog? Do you hate to write? And so that's a terrible idea, right? Like making sure that you have a newsletter. If you don't have a newsletter, you're doing some sort of communication with people.
Right.
And you're staying top of mind with folks.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's really about like, what are the priorities for you? So sometimes it's one or two things.
Mm-hmm.
For some clients, we'll talk about your online presence. It might be really important to make sure that if you're a physical location, you need to make sure your online presence is really clean and set up well online. That name, address, and phone number have to be consistent, or Google gets mad really fast.
Right.
And SEO is a whole other ball of wax that I will not get involved with, but making sure your Google My Business page is set up. And if you live in the Northwest, Bing Places is set up. And, and if you are getting reviews and you need reviews, and having a review process in place. There's a lot of things that can go into this.
Right.
But the three things that I would start with are having a good, healthy list and a database of contacts, so having a CRM in there, knowing who your target market is and making sure you're networking with them and having that follow-up system in place with it.
Right. And I think that's an important point too, for the realism component, is that you don't have to there's lots of marketing you could do.
Yes.
There's videos and podcasts and events and trade shows and blah, 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 but you don't have to do all of it.
No. Yeah. Right. So when I start with a client, we talk about like, what's every terrible idea everybody has ever told you, right?
That you need to do, or your business will fail. Yeah.
Right. Because my father-in-law has some exquisitely terrible ideas, but he's a retired potato farmer. So we live in different worlds. And I love the man. Don't get me wrong. But every once in a while, I'm like, thanks for that.
I'll get right on that.
What works in Eastern Washington doesn't work in Portland, Oregon sometimes.
Right.
And so it's what are all those terrible ideas? What's worked? What hasn't worked? Right? Like, what do we need to go back and try again? Why didn't it work? Did it not work because that's not what your target market wants? Or did it not work because you hated it and you half-assed it? Right? Like, I love that. Do this. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, I love that. So what would be sort of like one final tip you would have about, let's say there's a solopreneur watching this and going like, I just don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
What would be a good first step for getting all of this in place?
So I'm going to jump ahead to pitch my marketing calendar, because I have a free monthly marketing calendar.
And it kind of, by the way.
And it's absolutely free, and it gives you just like 5 things a week to do. So putting these things in place, right? Like, do you have a blog? How often are you blogging? What's your networking for the month? How many one-on-one appointments you need? Once you know, like I said, with the client that I was talking about earlier, with, knowing how many of what kinds of clients they want. Like, once you know, I need 15 clients that do this service of mine every month, and I want them on a recurring basis. And I'm at 7. Okay. So how did you get those clients? Kind of go back, right? Like, how did you get those clients? Where did they come from? So do you need to reach out to some referral partners and thank them for those clients and see if they have anybody else in
mind? Yeah.
Right. Or do you need to go back to that networking event you haven't been to for 3 months because you got busy? Did they come from your newsletter that you haven't sent out in 3 months because you got busy? Like, doing everything, it's doing that consistently. So whatever you're doing, do it consistently. So find that one thing. Don't give up on it when it doesn't work the first time. Try it for 3 or 6 months, right? Test it. What's working? What's not working?
I think that's the dirty little marketing secret. I've been in marketing over 25 years. And, that's the thing, is if there was one answer, we'd all be millionaires. Like, marketing is testing and tweaking. Like, there is no one right answer. It's why there's really bad ads on TV. It's not because someone thought that might work. They were testing it.
Right.
And it didn't,
No,
so
exactly.
That's the thing, is I think people get paralyzed by like, I have to find that one promotional tactic or marketing thing, or I'm going to put all my eggs in the Facebook ads basket, or whatever it is. But you have to test and tweak, because there's no, it's not math. There's a little bit of art and science to it. So
exactly. And I would try one thing at a time, not 7 things at a time. Like, I have a client,
control group. Yeah,
exactly. I have a client, we just switched web developers, and they're doing some local SEO. And then we talked to somebody else about doing Google AdWords. And I'm like, I want the SEO locked in so we can see that
spend money.
Before we spend money. Because then they're going to say, oh, the AdWords work. No, the SEO work. Like, they're going to just use each other's numbers. And let's get a baseline here first. So try one thing, try it for a while, then add on to it and add on to that.
Absolutely. I love that. So how can people find you?
Sure. So the best way is yellowdogconsulting.com. You'll find a great picture of Norm and me. And there will be a couple of different options on there to connect. So all my social media is there. I'm active on Twitter. I'm active on Instagram. Both of those are at EJ Case. And my Instagram I have a Yellow Dog Consulting Instagram as well. And then, I have a free marketing checklist, which is a really great tool. So if you're kind of going, okay, I still don't know where to start with all of this, that's a handy monthly calendar, and it lays it out week by week. Here's what I recommend you do. And just start with whatever week you're in when you download it, and go from there and just check in.
And we'll put a link to that in the show notes as well, in the video notes, so that people can find it. But that, just like to give you a little plug on that marketing calendar is great, because it is the, like, I don't know what to do this or next month. It's a very simple way of looking at it. But, to your point, everybody's business is different, and they sort of have to start where they are. But what I love about the calendar is it can sort of apply to anybody's business.
Yeah. I tried.
Started.
Yep. That's really what I tried. And you can cross out things. Like if you're not going to blog, then that's one thing you don't have to do every week. That's okay.
Yay, it's
checking
done.
your social media. Right. Exactly. Thinking about your newsletter, writing your newsletter, sending your newsletter, right? Like, what are the things you need to be considering throughout each month? And just adding those one or two things a week, so that it's not everything all at the same time and not totally stressing you out.
Right.
But moving you forward.
So leave us with that one, like, inspirational, motivational nugget of how to approach your sales and marketing. What's sort of been your philosophy that kind of encompasses everything we've been talking about?
Yeah. Gosh, I should have that right on the tip of my tongue.
I surprised you.
You did. It's good. You got to follow up, right? You're losing business because you're not following up. And it's amazing. Like, that is the key to marketing. If you do nothing else from listening to this today, but just start following up with people, start with cleaning up your inbox, right? Like, just follow up, respond to those people. The reason that you're losing business is because you didn't do the follow-up, right? If you're frustrated with how things are going in your business, make sure you're doing the right follow-up. When you go network, make sure you're following up.
Yep. I love it.
Follow up, follow up, follow up.
Follow up, follow up, follow up. All right. So that's our mantra. And thank you so much, Elizabeth, for joining us today.
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate this. And again, folks, it's Yellow Dog Consulting. I will, again, put all the links below. But thanks, and have a great day.
Thanks so much, Maria. Take care.